It's the Pirate People Podcast. I'm Rick Cole, co-hosting again with Sammy Bradshaw. Welcome, Sammy.
Hi, glad to be here again.
It's good to have you back. Nate Swann will be our guest a little bit later on. He is the first-year head coach of men's and women's golf. You play golf at all? Have you ever played?
Yeah, I used to play in like 3rd, 4th grade.
Yeah.
I actually have 2 first-place medals.
Is that right? Like in a
Yes.
tournament or what?
Yeah, down in Lancaster or over in Lancaster, Missouri.
Well, why did you give it up? Sounds like you're off to a great start.
I lost my clubs.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
How'd you do that?
I don't know. They're at my grandma's house and then they're just gone.
I used to play up until, I don't know, about 10 years ago. And when I was coaching, it was always a great thing to do with coaches. But somewhere, and remember, this is old school back in the, wherever it was. But, somebody said one time that you can't be a great coach and a great golfer. Meaning that you should spend more time on your coaching. So that always stuck in my head. I don't necessarily think that's true, but I don't know.
Honestly, on a certain note, I think that's a little true, but
yeah. Well, Nate's going to talk about some things here, including mental toughness for golfers and how golfers come in as freshmen and they have to learn to play a little differently. But the golf course is the same. It's you're battling against a golf course, so the mental thing in golf is so big. You're a softball player. What's the toughest thing mentally for you in softball?
not messing up.
Yeah.
Not embarrassing myself. I go out there and I try and I put all my effort into it. Like, the one thing I ask is for myself not to mess up.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and so you mess up, what happens?
Then I deal with the consequences, and then I make sure I never do it again.
All right, Sammi Bradshaw is our co-host here. If you don't know Sammy, she is a sophomore here. She is on the softball team, a tremendous pitcher, and also I think you got a DH a little bit last year, didn't you?
Yes, every game I DH'd.
Yeah.
Yes.
You've just been elected this week to the Student Senate, correct? The leadership?
Yes, sir.
And what is the official title you bear now?
I am the Vice President of Student Senate.
What does a Vice President of Student Senate do?
We work together to try to make our campus a lot better, try to make our college a lot better.
Do you have like an agenda for your first 100 days like a presidential candidate has?
No, I'm just kind of going with it. I hope my president has an agenda, but I don't know.
Who's the new president?
Michaela.
Eads, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. She's from
I
Lakewood.
pronounce it.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
Right. So what's going on campus this week? What do you have on your mind?
Go softball practice, go to school, but I don't know. Lately, a lot of people have been doing a lot of visits for my school, so it's nice because walking around, I see a ton of people from my high school that I'd love to catch up with. So I don't know. There's not a whole lot going on campus that I know of besides just, I don't know, clubs going out and trying to get people. But.
Yeah, and so now here comes my pitch for Media Broadcasting Club. We're looking to, and I think we're going to set a date for a meeting again and hopefully have a little bit better turnout because it's something that should be fun for anybody that's interested in any kind of media and broadcasting. We'll get that set, but I love the fall. I love it when it starts getting a little bit cooler. Campus is still green. There's kind of that fall feeling in the air. Trenton High School is playing football, and we don't have football here at North Central, but it's still kind of that. I like it.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah.
I like the feelings, like sweater weather, just where you can just sit there and not sweat when you're sitting outside.
Yeah.
Like, that is exciting for me.
I'm ready to have chili again for dinner. We don't eat chili in the summer.
I do love chili. I didn't even think about chili.
Yeah. You cook?
No.
No, you don't cook?
At least I didn't whenever I lived at home.
Right.
But,
so what kind of chili would you have then?
I make sure I have meat in it. My mom's kind of weird about that. She's more of like the vegetable person than the meat person.
Okay.
So I probably will have a lot less veggies and a lot more meat.
Okay.
And a lot more cheese.
Yeah. Beans or no beans?
Oh, beans, of course.
I like beans.
I love beans.
Chunky tomatoes or no chunky tomatoes?
I like tomatoes.
Yeah.
They've grown on me.
Yeah.
I used to hate them, but I like them now.
Another great thing about fall is all the tomatoes that are for sale. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You can do well.
You
can do well.
And you can use tomatoes in everything.
Yes, you can.
Like everything.
Yeah.
So.
Ice cream topping, not so much maybe, but
I mean, if that's your prerogative, I guess go for it.
No, it's not. I just thought I'd throw you a curveball there. All right, Sammy and I will be back here, but first let's take a moment and visit with Nate Swann. As we said, he is the new golf coach at North Central. He takes over the women's and the men's programs. He is very busy this week. He's got his teams in two different places at the same time. So Nate Gammett, who was the head men's coach last year, is helping him out a little bit this week. You can look for results on the golf program online. Of course, it'll be on our website for the Pirates. And I think the fall is interesting here because we don't have football, volleyball. Golf is playing really they're not exhibitions. What would you call them? Their fall schedule.
Tournaments.
Yeah, you guys in softball play some games on weekends and occasionally at home, and so does baseball. And basketball's practicing, but we don't really have a fall competitive team right now. Anyway, back to Nate Swann. He's a good guy. You've seen him around the Ketchum Community Center, and Nate Swann is our guest here on the Pirate People Podcast. Welcome. How's the new position as a full-time coach at North Central?
You know, it's a lot. The players have been keeping me very busy so far, but, you know, I'm enjoying every single minute of it. And, you know, finally we got our first tournament in and kind of just getting into the swing of things. And we have a huge week next week with 3 tournaments on the men's side and then 2 on the women's side. So I think we're well prepared and, you know, kind of see how we do next week.
Getting into the swing of it, I love it when golf coaches say that. It's so appropriate.
It's ironic, right?
Well, I don't know if it's ironic, but it's certainly appropriate to your sport. But I want to know, when you say they're keeping you busy, what does that mean?
Oh, you know, just always asking me questions, whether the golf room is unlocked, locked. Practice, we do early morning workouts, full conditioning this week. That's at 6 a.m., 6:15. And then we'll do that at the track, Ketchum Center. And then everything just evolves around practice, whether that's 18-hole qualifiers, going out to Green Hills to the driving range, work on what they specifically need to work on for tournament play, all of that. So, I mean, just giving everybody the individual help that they need keeps me very busy.
You know, I guess I always consider golf more of a spring sport, but it sounds like you've got hands-on and you're doing things here in the fall and in the spring.
Absolutely. So the busy fall tournament schedule was obviously by design because on the women's side and the men's side last year, I think they only competed in 5 tournaments total, and now I bumped that up to 11. 6 on the men's side, 5 on the women's side. So I think it helps them personally just to get more and more experience. And obviously I scheduled the fall tournament tough with Rockhurst, William Penn, William Jewell. So just terrific competition week in and week out that I think as they progress and go along the year, I think that experience will help them in our actual year come the spring. Is
the spring then still more important than the fall?
Yes, because that's when the region tournament is. That's when nationals is. And actually, on the women's side, we have the opportunity of hosting the Region 16 this year with us and MCC Penn Valley.
Right.
That's a great opportunity for us, and more than likely we'll be at Green Hills just because.
That's in
May 1st through the 4th.
No, I mean, where is Green Hills?
Chillicothe. Yes.
Yeah. Does it hamper you in recruiting to, I guess, not have a course here in town that you can play for competition? You practice, though, right here in town?
You know, it doesn't really hurt me recruiting-wise at all because our 2 18-hole qualifiers so far have been at the country club out here in Trenton.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
In the spring, we will be at Green Hills, but, I mean, kind of my selling point is not necessarily the country club in itself, but you have basically 24 access to a golf course.
That's true, yeah.
A couple miles from campus.
Yeah, Riverside is a really nice course. We're out there for the golf fundraiser. It looks challenging, although we've never played it. But you don't play there, often. I guess is what I'm trying to get at. Is do you have to learn? Is it a visiting course when you go to Chillicothe? Is it a visiting setting for you guys as well as your opponents?
Oh, yeah, I think so. So Riverside and Green Hills are two completely different golf courses. Riverside's tree lined, and Green Hills, it's kind of the old saying is you can bomb driver and still be okay,
Right.
just because the course is so open. But I know the players love to do that just because driver is what they want to hit all
Sure.
the time. But
It's like a home run in baseball, right? You just
Right.
whack it as far as you can.
Yep. But at Riverside, it kind of tests your game everywhere. If you're new to the course, it's difficult. There's kind of a learning curve when it comes to Riverside. If you don't play there every single day, it can get very tricky.
Well, I got news for you. Every course is a tough course
Yes.
when you don't play very
Yep.
often. And I'm talking about myself here. So, I haven't played for years. So, okay, you talk about your team a little bit. Let's mention some of your team members, both on the men's and the women's side.
Okay, so the freshmen that we have on the men's side, Austin Lasher, Mason Moncrief, Cam Bates, and then Braden Schweizer, and then the return of Kyle.
Kyle
Steele.
Yep.
But with those freshmen coming in, they've been doing a great job so far. Austin has surprised me personally, and he's learning everything very quickly and knows what he wants to do with his golf game.
Right.
And then, I'm very happy with his placing at Rockhurst last week, and obviously he left some strokes out there, but I think he can only improve from that and learn from that as well. And then on the women's side, the return of Emily Long, Taylor Hilleman, and then freshmen Lainey Swiger, Lexi Hutton, and Allison Allen. And the biggest takeaway from last week from just the group together is how they were just composed all the way through. They weren't ever rattled from playing against four-year schools, and obviously they, again, left some shots out there and hit some wayward shots around the golf course, but for it being their first tournament experience, they'll just build from that.
Right. Let's talk about freshmen a little bit, because my feeling is, as I watch golf, you're not competing against another team. You're competing against the course, right?
Absolutely.
So do freshmen have easier time because they're not, the other team isn't guarding them. It's just
Right.
you're playing against the course. So what is the adjustment for a freshman coming to a college program?
But you have to learn how to not beat yourself before you ever beat a golf course.
Sure. Okay, that makes
So
sense.
being mentally strong, fighting off the bad shots, because everybody hits them during
Right.
tournaments, even four-year schools that we competed with last week. There's bad shots out
Right,
there.
yeah.
Obviously, there's great ones.
Yeah.
But nobody is ever perfect, and being composed, mentally strong all the way throughout, I think that only helps them.
Right. You're going to hate this, but you talked about conditioning and everything, and traditionally, golfers maybe aren't considered as good of athletes as some other sports. What's your response to that?
Golfers are athletes too, is my take on it. I'm speaking on the region tournament aspect of it. They walk 36 holes in a day.
Right.
And that's a lot on the body, carrying their clubs.
How far is that? I know you can't say specifically, but
So for the courses that we play, whatever it adds up to, it's 14,000 yards
okay.
in total.
Okay.
So I don't know how many. One of my golfers has their Apple Watch on them, and they do their step-by-step counter. So usually around that length is 36 holes. But I guess going back to your question, I think conditioning is very important for them, and just them being student athletes, getting as many reps as they can in the weight room, and then I think just conditioning every day helps them.
In volleyball, I always thought you didn't need to be a long-distance athlete. You need to be quick across basically,
Mm-hmm.
70 feet is about as far as you run at a time. In basketball, you had to be able to go up and down that court, 80 whatever feet it is in high school, a bunch of times. You had to be in that kind of shape. Baseball, you had to be flexible and strong at the same time. What do you look at in golf as the key thing condition-wise?
Personally, I kind of look at distance. I look at, well, not necessarily body type, but how far they can hit the ball. Flexibility is huge because, I mean, you're put in situations on a golf course where you have to squat down, hit different bunker shots, hit different chips all around the golf course. That's a good question.
You know what I'm saying, though? You kind of have to tailor your conditioning to your sport in some regards. But I think what you're trying to say is that those core muscles are really important. The trunk, because of
Absolutely.
the back strain and all of that, the hips.
Any core lifts that we can get into, that's kind of the most important thing. Whether that's core lifts, whether that's just stuff around this area of the body right here that helps them, just gets them stronger and helps them hit the ball farther.
Right. This is weird. I thought, just a random thought, but in baseball, when the steroids were the thing, and you saw people, how come that didn't happen in golf? Wouldn't that help golfers hit the ball a mile and a quarter?
I think it would, and I also think it would hurt them. I mean, there's different tests and everything.
Yeah.
I think it just would affect them in a negative way, personally. Because in golf, you never hear match analysis say, my opponent just hit the ball too far.
Right, yeah, good point.
Most of the time it's, even in like a match play setting, it's this guy made more putts than I did.
Right.
This guy got more up and downs than me. So it's not, length is huge in golf, but it's not key per se.
But it's like home runs. It gets maybe overblown a little bit in the press.
I think so.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Nate Swann is our guest. He's the first-year head coach of North Central Missouri College golf, both on the women's and the men's side. You were the assistant last year, right?
Yes.
To Nate Gamet, and now with him ascending to the athletic director's position, what's the difference between being a head coach and being an assistant coach in your mind?
More responsibility is number one for me. Kind of being an assistant in the spring for him, I obviously got to walk a lot of the holes with each individual player on the men's side, but by myself, sticking both teams on an 18-hole golf course, it's hard to get around to each player, and obviously I can't be there for every single shot. I have to rotate around. So the biggest thing for me is I'm still trying to find that consistency to where I can find the appropriate amount of time for each golfer. But that's kind of the most difficult thing for me. It's a lot on my plate, but the responsibility is the most important thing.
You teaching a lot during this time in the season? I mean, with individuals, do you work on certain aspects of each game? I suppose that's year-round, but I mean, especially in the fall?
Yes, it's still very early, but even within that first week, we took out the launch monitor, got some ball flight results and distances and stuff like that. So just working on key areas with each individual. And I know it's still early, but just finding consistency all the way around for each individual player helps.
Are you one of those coaches that, and maybe it's not fair at this point in your career to ask this, but I will anyway, because it's my show.
Right.
Are you one of those coaches that will look at an incoming player and say, let's break down your swing and build it back up for the spring? Or are you maybe a little bit, as I was as a coach, maybe a little hesitant to change a lot because you can overcoach easily? You know what I'm saying? It seems like two schools of thought.
That's a great question because personally, I'm a little hesitant to put people through like a whole a complete swing change. Kind of in the fall, we work with what we have, and then as far as the winter goes, we'll kind of tinker with some things throughout, and then kind of in the summer is where I'll say, hey, we really need to get down to business and go through a swing change, because I've done it personally and it sucks.
Right.
And going through a swing change, you hit more bad shots than good ones,
yeah.
but in the long run, it can only help you. So,
But you got to buy into that philosophy.
absolutely.
As a player, you really got to believe that.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a big sales job sometimes.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Hey, you come from kind of an athletic family. It's your stepdad, John Cowling, who's the AD at Trenton High School,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
So you're around athletics a lot, even
Yep.
before this. Obviously you played golf here at North Central, right?
Mm-hmm.
You play at Trenton High School.
Yes.
Any other sports besides golf?
I played basketball my freshman year.
Yeah.
I think my career high was 12 points. I think it was against Putnam County, actually. And I hit three threes in a row. I ended with 12
Yeesh.
points. I think it was in the second quarter. I think there was like 15 seconds left in halftime. And I went ahead and did a little heat check because I was feeling confident and completely airballed it.
I love that.
And my coach at the time, Coach Clark, he was so mad at me in the locker room because I didn't hold the ball. And I was like, Coach, I just felt confident. But basketball and golf are my two sports.
Yeah.
And obviously I watched football games. I went to volleyball games. Softball was huge too
Right,
for me.
yeah.
Just watching.
Trenton was really, really good at that point, right?
They were. And then basketball as well.
Yeah.
They went to the state championship, I think.
Yeah.
I think it was 2 or 3 years ago.
Right.
And they ended up getting third place,
Yep.
which was awesome. And just being a fan and supporting them was awesome. And supporting my stepdad
Right.
along the way
Right,
was great
right.
for me.
Right, I had to give him a hard time last year being a first-year AD, and then he had to deal with all the stuff coming into a COVID season. And
Yep.
man, what a way,
Oh my
to
gosh.
step in! That was tough.
That's
It
why
was tough for all of us.
That's why I didn't talk to him at home about work because he would have just got mad at me.
Yeah.
So I
good
kind
for you.
of I know he had a lot on his plate, but I kind of just let him do his business, and he's doing a great job so far.
Yeah. What are your career aspirations? Do you want to stay in golf? Do you want to coach other sports? Do you what are you kind of looking at long term?
Long term, I would want to be in his shoes.
Really?
Honestly, yep.
Yeah.
Obviously, short term, golf is something that I have a huge heart for, and I kind of want to stick with it and see how long it goes. But kind of in the long term and career-wise, athletic director would be
Right.
almost number one for me.
Right. You have any other responsibilities on campus besides golf team?
So I take care of the part-time workers at Ketchum Community Center. Now I actually just transferred over to doing the schedule for them, kind of oversee what they do in the evening because I'm there until 9 o'clock. And then just helping Nate with in any way I can with athletic responsibilities. When he has too much on his plate, he'll send it over to me,
Right.
and I'll help with him.
Yeah. The Ketchum Center. I think it's one of the hot spots on campus.
It's
one of
terrific.
the beautiful spots on
Yes.
campus, and I hope the community is proud of it because it's a community center.
Yes.
And you get some traffic in there. There's some regulars, and
gosh.
especially as the
Yep.
weather gets a little bit colder. And
Yep. A lot of
but-
foot traffic.
Yeah,
all
but
of
I
that.
want to pay all you guys a compliment in that it just looks great all the
I
time.
appreciate that.
And everybody takes good care of it. And
Our part-timers do a great job with that, and just Sarah, Jeremy, Nate, myself do all that we can, and we respect the community center, and we like the way that it looks right now,
Yeah.
and hopefully it stays that way.
how old is it? Isn't it about 15 years old or so?
I think so.
Which
I
surprises
don't know
me.
off the top of my head, but
It surprises me because
Yep.
it looks pristine.
yes.
When we hosted the men's district tournament last year in basketball, we brought 3 other schools in here to play, to go to the national tournament. Those coaches that came in, a couple of them had never been here before, and they were amazed,
Yeah.
that we have such a nice facility for our programs, and,
And then-
whatever we add in the future as well.
Yeah, and that's what our job is to, when basketball teams travel to our place, we want to make sure that they have the best experiences possible
Right.
and take care of them in any way that we can. And I mean, that's going to stick with us throughout the years, and I don't think it's ever going to change.
Right. What do you do when you're not coaching and cleaning up the Ketchum Center? You have any hobbies or anything?
Not necessarily hobbies. obviously as a golf coach, I like to get better at golf myself. So I'll play in golf tournaments, fishing, and then just traveling around.
Yeah,
I
really?
love just driving on a highway, and
Uh-huh.
I honestly couldn't stop.
Yeah.
Put some country music on, and
Oh gosh, you had me until you had to get into country music.
and that's good enough for me. And then college football games.
Oh really?
Is for me. Yeah.
All right. All right. You and Jenny Croy and who else are going to play in Savannah today?
Ryan Suttonfield and Jenny's son, Lathan Croy.
Lathan, okay.
Yep.
Who's the best golfer on staff?
Oh,
You can name yourself too. That's okay.
so I'm going off of the club championship results.
This was supposed to be more of a subjective answer, like, I'm man or something like that.
On staff, obviously Ryan and I play all the time. We play together. Some days he can beat me. Most days I beat him. So I'm not going to say myself because that would be selfish of me. But Ryan and myself are
Okay.
the best ones on campus.
Which of the two of you would you want to take the putt that's going to win the tournament?
Myself,
You would.
because
Now, see there's what
because
I want.
that's the biggest thing for me is I'm a great putter.
Yeah, putt for dough, right?
Yeah, drive for show, putt for dough,
Right.
always.
So who's the best driver between the two of you?
That would be Ryan. He's a lot more consistent than
A
I
baseball
am.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they're supposed to do. Hit the ball a long way.
Oh, I know. No, he's definitely more consistent than I am with the driver. I hit way too many wayward tee shots, but I just make up for it around the greens.
Are you competitive? I
Yes,
mean, to an
very.
nth degree.
Yep.
Does that help or hurt a golfer? You're talking about the mental side of it. Can you be too amped up? Can you be too competitive at times? Not you personally, but a golfer.
I think you can be. I think you can get so competitive that you kind of lose sight of what's at stake, and you keep beating yourself up during a round. And I mean, you obviously want to beat every single person on the golf course, but just getting too over competitive definitely hurts.
Ever throw a club in the water or anything like that?
Kyle Steele did last year.
No, I'm talking about you.
Oh, have I?
Yeah.
Yes, I've thrown multiple clubs, not just out of careless mistakes and stuff like that.
Not in frustration.
Very much frustration
Oh, okay.
too. Just when bad shots and when I know that it's not my day, I'll
Right.
kind of get carried away and do stuff like that.
I love watching competitive people because I think I'm kind of a competitor too. But athletically, those days are behind me. But you can compete, and I think it helps you in life all over the place.
Absolutely.
Whether you're just determined to do a good job or you're actually trying to win something like a job or something like that. But I think that's part of the experience of going to college and playing athletics in general. You learn all those things, which in our present day media kind of gets glossed over a little bit because everybody's trying to be the next Division I recruit. But, we forget sometimes, especially at the high school, junior high level, what it's there for.
Yeah.
And boy, coaches at that level, just deserve a lot of credit.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you for spending time with us. We'll keep up
not
to
a
date
problem.
with.
Thanks for having me.
That's Nate Swann. He is the golf coach at North Central Missouri College. He'll do a great job, I think, Sammy. He's an energetic guy. He plays a lot of golf, and I think the guys are going to react well to him. And that's huge. You've got a new head coach.
Yes.
Sarah Van Dyke is the new head coach, as she was the assistant last year. Very similar situation. How is softball going?
Oh, I've never been so proud of a team. We just came out and we did our jobs.
Where was this and when was this?
Yes, Saturday we went to Grandview and we played Grandview's JV and Kirkwood Community College. And that was a little iffy. It was just a scrimmage, so we didn't really keep score or anything. We were just trying to test out the waters, playing people in positions like they might be good at, might not be good at. It was a nice little experience, just so we could see things.
Right.
So then when we came, we went to Graceland, and we went to Graceland on Sunday, and we played a doubleheader against them. I'm not sure if we played their varsity or their JV, but we went out and we rocked it.
Good.
We absolutely did.
Fun.
Amazing. Oh yeah, it was so much fun. it was a nice like starter because we were a little upset because of Grandview. It's not that we did bad; it's just we didn't do as good as we thought we would. So it was a very, very nice pickup going from Grandview to Graceland, and I love going to Graceland because like I know a lot of people that go there. And so it's fun getting to see people and then playing and doing well.
Plus, just the joy of going to Lamoni, Iowa. There's nothing quite like it.
It is just an amazing place. So much to see, so much
it's
to
amazing, all right.
No.
I'm sorry, Lamoni, Iowa. I've spent a lot of time there.
So have I.
When it comes to athletics, my good friend Tim Crone, who is a high-level athletic director in the state and was my broadcast partner for 10 years, he loved to say, how do you feel when you win? How do you feel when you lose? How do you want to feel? And that's kind of how I approach life too. If you want something, you're going to work hard to get it because that's how you want to feel afterwards. Hey, you guys are done now primarily with the big fundraising project, the card sales. And how did that all go for you in terms of a process?
Good. We sold a ton. We're still selling some. We were still selling some before the due date was, but we were just going out selling like crazy. It was a little rough the first few days we started, it's like a competition kind of.
Yeah, between teams?
Yep, competing with other teams because if we sell the most, we get like extra money put in with our thing, like our account. And so we've been just kind of working along with that.
College is all about learning stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you learn when you do a fundraiser?
People skills.
Okay.
You have to talk to so many people, have to be respectful to people, be respectful for their time and everything. And a lot of people don't understand how much people skills come into doing a fundraiser.
Because every job has sales involved in it. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even athletics a little bit, because if you're a pitcher, you want to have the right body language in the circle because you've got to sell the umpire.
Of course. That I actually struggle with that, giving like little that should have been a strike, and I come on.
Ever been kicked out of a game?
Oh, of course not.
You haven't?
No, I would never push my limits that far.
I think I've been kicked out of 7.
Oh my! I definitely know a lot of people that it's like a fun thing that they like to do, just push the buttons until I get kicked out.
No, you know what? I always had such remorse over it, but I always felt it was justified in my mind. And I thought a few times umpires, and this was like coaching baseball, had a real quick trigger. You don't have to say much, but they're so sensitive, usually because they're inexperienced. They don't let you have your say. Yeah. And I got run a couple of times, by that kind of a guy.
Oh, yeah.
But I deserved them. I mean, how it goes.
Yeah,
no, you don't know how it goes. You've never been thrown out.
I've never been thrown out, but I've been in a very, very, very many situations where my coaches got thrown out or a different player might have got kicked out. And
have you picked your goals for the season yet? Your individual goals?
Not much.
Okay, get that being kicked out as one of your goals.
Oh, yeah, of course. I would love to put that on there.
Don't do that.
Oh, why not?
This is terrible.
Might as well.
This is terrible. What else is going on? Anything that we need to visit about?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Well, we will then wrap up the Pirate People podcast. Oh, here's what I was going to ask you. Pirate People podcast. Somebody suggested to me that's too hard to say. My coming back, defending that is that, it's hard to say, but you'll get used to it and it's memorable. It's pretty easy to... so I don't know. I like it.
We'll
go with it.
Welcome back to the PPP.
It sounds like So no, but if you work with it, it'll be good. So hey, thanks for co-hosting.
Of course.
And we'll see you next week on the Pirate People podcast.